This is a regular meeting of the Saginaw Planning Commission. Good evening, I'm Chairman of the Commission. When the petition or site plan approval request you're interested in is called, please come forward to the podium. Give your name and address to the secretary for the record. After the appellant's presentation, others may comment. The meeting is videotaped, so it's important that only one person speak at a time and the audience observe respect for the speaker. An affirmative vote in the majority of the members present is necessary to grant a petition or special use. Recommendations on all petitions made by the commissioner are then forwarded to the city council. Could we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Bland.
Present.
Commissioner Faust. Commissioner Klock.
Here.
Commissioner Weininger.
Present.
Commissioner Milne.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Here.
Commissioner Nash.
Present.
Commissioner Orange.
Present.
Commissioner Ostash. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. First item of business on this evening's agenda is approval of the minutes from our December 17th, 2024 meeting. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes with any necessary corrections for December the 17th, 2024.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Do any of the commissioners have any corrections to the minutes? Then I will ask for a vote in approval of the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next item is new business, and we have a number of items this evening.
Now we got to approve the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jumped right across that. Let me entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported to approve the agenda. I don't believe we have any additions or changes to the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Now we can move on to new business. We have a number of items on this evening's agenda. The first item is J24-2814. This is a site plan review for a proposed expansion at 2805 South Washington. Is the petitioner present?
Okay, good evening, everybody. John Morey with D&M Site Surveying and Engineering here in Carlton. So this project at 2805 South Washington is an expansion, is a 2,700 square foot addition to the existing 1,800 square foot addition at the gas station convenience store. And so this is located on the corner of Wisner and Washington. And what we're doing is adding that 2,700 square feet. So I outlined that in yellow here. So we'll be coming just to the west of the existing store with this addition. So the parking requirements are 4 spaces per island, 1 space per employee, and 1 space per the owner manager. And so that is a 20-car requirement, and we have 25 spaces shown. What we're going to do is we're going to move the dumpster around the corner, add 3 spaces on the north side of the building. There'll be no new utility, water or sanitary hookup. The storm sewer, we're adding 90 lineal feet of 8-inch pipe, and that's going into the one outlet that the city requires onto Wisner. And so that storm sewer then, for the new addition and for the new parking area, we have 117 cubic feet of storage. And what we're going to do is we're going to store that. I kind of outlined that in blue. We're just going to store it right in that existing concrete pavement that we're putting up on the north side of the building. So we moved the dumpster, there's an existing stockade fence now around the property. We're restriping the parking areas, so that we can put the handicap spot right in front of the front door. And for the city, we are going to close the existing curb cuts that existed on Wisner Street with one, and then we'll redo the one curb cut on Wisner for kind of a back entrance. So the driveways stay the same on Washington, all the pumps stay the same. We're just doing this addition to the back of the store. So if you guys got any questions, it's a nice, simple one.
Just if I may.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Clark.
You mentioned storage, I'm not sure, you're talking sewage storage? What are you talking there?
Storm sewer.
Storage storage, so is that gonna be a basin buried, or what is it gonna be?
Yeah, we're gonna have one catch basin in the middle, and we're gonna saw cut the existing concrete to get to the structure. Per the rules of the city, you only get one outlet, so we're gonna have to maintain that one outlet that exists now, and we'll just tie into that. We'll saw cut that curb, put in that 90 feet of storm sewer, and,
But you mentioned storage, and that's what I'm trying to
yeah,
understand.
so you have to do the stormwater detention, and so per the calculation, per the new impervious surface, which would be the roof, and then the new pavement, that calculation, and we're just gonna store that water, kind of make a bird bath in the parking lot.
It'll be above ground,
That's 3 inches.
so you're just gonna store it on, you let it flow into the parking lot, is what it boils
It
down to.
sits for about 20 minutes before it finally makes its way out.
Okay.
So a nice little project for Mr. Singh. He's got an existing store on Weberly, Tennessee, and I will be here next month for that one. So it's nice to see some development down here on the south side.
This,
Y'all ask
yeah,
questions.
yeah.
I thought we had to go, I thought we had to close it and then go and ask some questions.
This is not a public hearing.
Right, yeah, that's
Next
the
door.
thing. Making sure I'm on the right one. Just, I have a technical question also then. Looking at the drawings of it, the parking spaces include space at the pumps? Yes, okay, that's what it looked like.
So you need, there's three pump islands. You need 4 spots per pump.
Right.
Per pump island, and so that's kind of outlined there with the little car symbols.
Yep, okay. Commissioner Clark?
Thanks, just back on that, I don't mean to belabor it, but is that storage of water permitted without engineering approval, or does it have to go through?
Yeah, we've already got the review from Travis from engineering. He has reviewed everything, so.
However, when you make your motion to approve, you have to make it contingent upon
Yeah, we have
engineering
two
approval.
contingencies.
Right, but I was curious if that was gonna be okay by,
Yeah, yep.
all right, thank you.
Anything else for the petitioner? Okay.
Yep, you covered everything pretty good. Good job.
All right, at this time then, I think the next thing is to entertain a motion to approve the petition.
So, support more.
It's been moved and supported to approve this petition with the contingencies listed under the recommendation. Approval of a floodplain permit and City of Saginaw Engineering Department review and approve all utility connections. Is there any discussion? Commissioners have any discussion? Then I will ask for approval. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The petition is approved. Next item on the agenda, these next 2 items will be public hearings. I will mention the public hearing guidelines. The purpose of a public hearing is to address the commission with regard to the subject of the hearing, not other topics. So with two of them tonight, make sure you're discussing the one we're on. Speakers shall address their remarks to the commission as a whole and not to individual commission members, city staff, or the audience. The applicant whose application is the subject of the hearing or their designated representative shall be the main presenter and will be allowed 10 minutes for their presentation. Each additional speaker commenting on the subject of the meeting will be limited to 3 minutes. First one is public hearing JPCC 124-002, a rezoning request for 1314 Brown Street from R1 to R3. May the petitioner come forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. The request for this is to acquire the school building Longfellow. We want to convert it to a pre-apprenticeship program. So Renee Torres, I have a company called TNS Construction. I've done a lot of work in the city of Saginaw for the past 9 years. And I see a need for the trades in the residential area. I know I've been with the Carpenters Union, so I've been a union carpenter. I've also done a lot of residential. And I have a lot of people asking for training, and I think it's time to start a little pre-apprenticeship school. So I'm working with Delta College, Michigan Works, City of Saginaw. And what we want to do with the building is for the gymnasium, have the shop area, office area. The rezoning request is because we want to make some apartments. We want to build some apartments in the school building so we can be self-sustainable. Right now, we're after grants and private funding, but we also want to become self-sustainable so we can sponsor ourselves. If you guys have any questions.
They
That's a
can't
separate-
answer, they can't ask
Yeah,
you any questions.
Okay.
sir.
So, I mean, and pretty much that's what we're shooting for. Like I said, working with Delta College, Michigan Works, start training anybody in the neighborhood. This isn't limited to race, age, gender. What we're looking for is just to teach. And the trades of carpentry, residential, plumbing, heating and cooling, just all trades. I am waiting for one of my partners. He's driving from Cleveland right now, but if he doesn't make it, I think that's all I have to say for now in the rezoning.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address this petition? Anyone else to speak at this public hearing? I will ask again, come
Renee,
forward, please.
You can just go sit down.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Sheila Gamble, and I reside at 1415 Brown Street. When I got the notification about this repurposing of Longfellow School, I had a lot of questions. One was, were there other sites considered other than Longfellow? Also, I'm in favor of education because our children do need the education. A lot of them are not college bound. They like to work with their hands. So a trade school is beautiful. I have a problem with the apartments. This is a neighborhood. And if there are going to be apartments, what about the parking infrastructure? Where are all these cars going to park when you have a school and housing? Who is going to vet the people for these proposed apartments? And how large is the school supposed to be? How many students would they handle? You know, to know how many incoming people. Is there an age limit? You have to be a certain age. So we, as a neighborhood, we just have a lot of concerns about putting the apartments more than anything in our neighborhood. Brown Street, Remington, Holland, they already have a lot of traffic. Basically, both Holland and Remington are treated like they're Annapolis Speedway. It's crazy. You have to be very careful. We have a lot of senior citizens, so we're concerned about safety also. So, like I said, we just have a lot of concerns and questions, so we'll see. We'll see. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to comment? Please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Jackson. I reside in the Holland Court area, right directly across from Longfellow School. Most of the people there, we enjoy our peace, the little that we have. I'm a widow. I'm a homeowner. I'm retired. And I'm used to my neighborhood being semi-quiet, but I like it the way it is. Right now, I'm all for training in classrooms, and I'm also bothered by the apartment because that's more density of people, more cars, more trash, more traffic, the whole 9 yards. And I would like the presenters maybe to consider another place because we are an established neighborhood already. We don't plan on moving anytime soon. We're all in our 70s, some in their 80s. We're widowed, and we are there to stay for a while. So I would ask that this be considered seriously because, as I said, we don't plan to make any changes anytime soon. And I'm just afraid the classrooms, the training, that's all good. But when you talk about multi-families and density, that's a problem I don't want to face. So that's my concern right off the bat. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment? Please come forward.
How's everyone? My name's Herbert Gibson. I also stay in the Highland Court area, number 4. And one thing that was mentioned that I know has a tendency to draw unnecessary crowds if not properly supervised. If it's properly supervised, it works well. But talk about basketball courts, they got snuck in. Those basketball courts is the reason why they took basketball courts off playgrounds. So they have a tendency to draw the wrong people. Not to say that it's not good for them, but that's why I say you have to have good supervision to make that happen. Because if not, it can lead into other problems. And as she spoke well of, turning things around so it's not so quiet. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention as well. And thank you for listening.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to comment at this public hearing on this particular item? Anyone else to speak? Anyone else who wants to make a comment? Mr. Golan.
So I received a letter from the school district. They said that they do not object to the rezoning in order to support the potential future development as indicated in the public hearing notice that we received. The nonprofit group has presented their plans to the Board of Education. They requested to provide verification of zoning approval as well as community support, specifically from the Cathedral District Neighborhood Association, before we enter into any official purchase agreement. I also received a letter from Inetta Kendall, and she just listed a number of concerns similar to what was presented at the first, during the first presenter.
Okay.
And I sent a letter back to her responding to all of those. Basically, the report that was given to the Planning Commission answered most of the questions that she was asking about. But she stated that she is concerned about it.
Okay, those will be entered as public comment. Is there anyone else who wishes to comment on this petition? Anyone else? I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing on JPCC 124-002.
So move more.
Support Nash.
It's been moved and supported to close the public hearing on this request. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? At this time, I would entertain a request to approve the rezoning request for 1314 Brown Street from R1 to R3.
I would move we go out of regular session for some questions.
Yeah.
Does that come before or after this?
Doesn't really matter.
You have to make the motion and first to have the discussion.
All right, well,
Make the motion to approve, you can vote it down if you deny it.
yeah,
But it has to be in the approval, in the positive.
that's fine.
So are you making the motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we approve the proposed, so we can have some discussion and go out of regular session.
Making the motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
Well, moved and seconded to approve the rezoning request.
And I would then move to go out of regular session for purposes of questions.
Sounds right. Okay.
Support.
We now have a motion to go out of our regular order to have some questions, I'm assuming to staff at this point, or petitioner. It's been moved and supported to go out of regular order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Commissioner Clark?
Yeah, I mean, we've heard some good legitimate questions, I think, and maybe the presenter would come back up. And perhaps you have some answers for some of those concerns. How many apartments, first of all, are we talking about?
There's about, I believe, 25. We had, we submitted somewhat of a blueprint. Did you show?
Yes, they don't have the divisions of the units.
Okay. There's going to be about 25. And the reason for the apartments is for workforce development. Of course, my concern is the community. We don't want to bring trouble to anybody. We want to we're going to be as safe as possible. We're going to have security and to protect the premises, of course. My thing is to educate. We will limit the traffic. So the students, there was a question asked about how many students were, for each cohort. This is a 3-month course, and we're going to have 15 to 20 students at a time. Now, we won't have sessions too much at the school because we will be out building. We're going to be out in the field building houses. And so we will be off-site. We will be on-site at times. But for the most part, you know, working with Delta College, students will be going back and forth to Delta, to the job sites. And the job site isn't in the area. We're working on a 200 build house in Bridgeport. So with that being said, we're working on a contract right now to lock that down, but to also educate. This is the perfect timing for a pre-apprenticeship to start as, you know, from the ground up, seeing houses built. And that's what we're working on. So we're very cautious of the neighborhood. We're not here to make any problems. The thing is to educate. You want a second? Go ahead.
No, so I'm Julius, Vice President of the nonprofit with this. You know, as a community member of Saginaw, born and raised in Saginaw, our goal is to try to transform Saginaw with the help of the community, right? There's 10 schools sitting around Saginaw right now that's vacant, right? Some propose to be ideal spots for, it used to be basketball, right? Used to be courts, hangouts, or other things of that nature. What we're trying to propose with the city of Saginaw, the school board, is to repurpose some of these buildings for training in different areas, right? These aren't adolescents, kids, these are adults, right? 18 and older, people that's looking for a career, not just looking for a handout. You know, you're talking about millions of dollars being held inside these buildings of equipment, state-of-the-art equipment, for all of these students, male and female, all your PPEs, equipment that they wouldn't necessarily get trained on until an apprenticeship such as this. So with the community help, what we want to do is bring light to a abandoned building right now. As he stated, there will be security 24 hours, all right? Outside of the being gated, right, there'll be actual patrolmen on premises for the safety of the community. There will be limited lighting, so it's not a nuisance as far as light goes, but there will be more of a security presence than what exists today.
If I may follow up, you're talking about 20-some students at a time and maybe 20-some apartments. Are these single-family or single individual apartments or what?
Yes, so the apartments aren't multifamily. I heard that sitting in the back, right? It's mixed use. So with this, it's workforce development. So ideally, it will be some of your hospital staff, right? We're trying to work with some of the hospitals, with their traveling nurses, your journeymans, people that travel for work right now is more of what this is going to be posed to, instead of just trying to bring in more residents or multifamilies or things of that nature. This is more workforce development housing.
All right. The reason I ask is, as a former elementary school, do we know how many students and staff would have been there previously, or a rough estimate?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
It
Good
was-
question.
I'm sure it was certainly more than 30 or 40 altogether.
Oh, that's probably
Yeah.
30 per classroom.
Yeah, and plus you have to have, I mean, I guess what I'm thinking is this sounds like this would be less than the use that was there before.
Yes, oh,
Plus
very
that,
much so.
that housed the Boys and Girls Club
Did it?
Yep.
Okay.
after school.
And the parking, being a school, you had lots of parking, I'm assuming.
Yeah, there's very adequate parking on one side, which that'll also be gated as well. The security booth will be built right on the side of that parking segment that's already zoned for parking right now. So no changes with the aprons or traffic patterns of that nature. The busiest street I think we have right there will be Remington coming through. That's your normal traffic though, right? Outside of those 20 people, that's going to be actual registered cohorts with us. We're not expecting stop-and-go traffic to come, and just tour the facility,
What will be the amenities provided for the students, and where will they be provided? Or not the students, the residents.
Amenities, so there's a courtyard right now. Did they get access to the blueprint?
Yeah.
Okay, with the blueprint, you got, the Boys and Girls Club had one area to where they had a small cafe area, a rec area, so to say. So we're proposing to do one in the courtyard version and then one in that area as well.
Thank you.
And we didn't want to open too much to the public for safety reasons, for those kind of amenities and things like that.
Commissioner Moore?
I'm good with the educational part, but I'm a little leery about the housing. Because all too many apartment buildings, and we've seen it in Saginaw, start off great, but midstream, they go backpedaling on us. So, I've heard the residents, and they're my biggest concern.
For sure.
And so, with that being said, what's an alternative if you don't get the housing part of it? What's the alternative? Can you still move forward? Because you just said that the training is not, it's gonna be some training, but minimum training done at that building. So what is the purpose of the building if you're not gonna train in it?
Oh, no, we are training in it. It's part of the program is, with the pre-apprenticeship, you got hands-on,
Okay.
which is required for the certification part,
Right.
right? So it's so many hours that you have to have in a classroom setting with an actual certified instructor. So that's what we'll be providing inside the building.
Okay, so-
Outside, they have to
My
have
bad.
so many hours to actually be in the field, not literally in the field of the school area, but they have to be in that field of work.
So-
And with the housing, if I may, Mayor, of those problems that you had in times past, right? Was that more affordable housing, multifamily units, government assisted, or
It's
do
a
you?
mixture. It's a mixture.
Was it
I'm not-
workforce?
I can't pinpoint one thing.
Okay,
I know that Holden School is in front of my house,
okay.
and they were trying to do the same thing over there. It can work if
Oh,
you
yeah.
got the good supervision.
Oh,
Just
yes.
like the young man said, you gotta have everything lined up. You cannot, I mean, you can, but I'm not comfortable with going into anybody's neighborhood disrupting it.
100%.
Education, I'm all for, I'm all down. The apprenticeship, I'm all good with that. I've got big concerns with what we call the residential.
100%.
I got big concerns. I mean, you gonna have to be somebody really, really good to show me.
Oh, you know, I'm a product of Saginaw, and Renee's a product of Saginaw, right? I'm back and forth, so I've been out of Saginaw 19 years, and I took my talents to Ohio. So I'm working on 2 master plans right now as far as a community developer. I own Complete Construction, and Renee owns T&S Construction. One of the programs that I'm a partner of, we have a Slavic village, it's about the size of Bridgeport, in Ohio. So we got a $60 million grant from the federal government to repurpose an entire community. You're talking about schools, you're talking about housing. 14% of the housing in this area is vacant. So that's under our development right now, and we're trying to bring not just more housing, more residents, right? The problem what you see with housing nowadays is no jobs, right? How do the people afford the housing if there's no jobs? So with us bringing the workforce element, we're trying to secure that there's no affordable housing, there's no government assistance needed in this kind of sustainable plan that we're trying to design. Because as we train, we now know, okay, you now have the income, or you have income currently to afford what's going on and what we're proposing.
And see, I disagree.
Any other commissioners? I have one question
Please get them down there.
concerning your, obviously, these aren't a final plan, but it appears these are efficiency units. Are these basically for a single person? Because I'll make this in comments later, but I just wanted to be clear, these are roughly estimated to be efficiency-type units.
Yes, so we're trying to make contacts with the hospitals around here, as Julius stated earlier, for traveling nurses, residents, for doctors, working in the field. So this is workforce development,
Okay.
housing, so we can have the control of who's coming in and out. At that point, less traffic, less noise, just having good connections and good contacts with working facilities already around here.
Thank you.
Questions on the other end?
Oh, Rachel, and, I'm sorry.
I have a question about the business plan for this and who's the responsible entity for which part. It sounds like there's a nonprofit that would lead the training school.
Yes, so we started a nonprofit called Building Poder. And so with this, this is what is gonna fund most of this. We got the construction skills, and with the nonprofit, now we can get grants and stuff to work around our neighborhood as well. So, I worked for the city of Saginaw. I've done hundreds of contracts throughout the years here. And the need for residential, the cosmetic look, the roofing, so I've done a lot of their work. My goal is to get more federal funds and to work on the houses around the community. As part of a pre-apprenticeship, as part of having students to work with us and to learn not only new construction, existing structures. So the houses in the community is one of the focus we're gonna be targeting. I just didn't wanna say too much, but because the funds aren't here yet, but the goals are to get the community involved with us.
Thank you.
Yes,
And then a follow-up to that, who would be responsible for the apartments? Would the nonprofit lease the space to a developer for the apartments, or who's the responsible party, who might be responsible to neighbors, for example?
That would be us. It would be a property management company in-house.
Thanks for clarifying.
Commissioner Orange?
Yes. Hi, can you repeat the name of the nonprofit for me again, please?
It is Building Poder, Poder, which is the word power in Spanish. So Building Poder, building power.
And also, when I think about the apartments, like, you're targeting, like, say, traveling nurses, what would a lease look like? Would it be, in my mind's eye, I'm seeing something like maybe an Airbnb type of a situation where they, a traveling nurse is not gonna sign a contract for a year if they're only here for 3 months, right? So would the contract be with, say, the organization, say with Covenant?
Yes, it was
And
with
then
the
you make the
employer.
lease with them for X amount of time, and then they would place individuals there?
Yes.
I don't want to speak too much on their behalf. We are making connections, and so once we speak on that, I mean, yes, we would want them to control the, how many students they have, traveling nurses or students. I know Central Michigan's coming into the city, and so Central Michigan University is coming, with a medical triangle. And so we're making good connections, and we would like to house some of their students and staff, whomever it may be that could get in here.
But the goal would to be not to make the lease with an individual, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But to make it with organizations.
Exactly.
To, I guess, I have a business mind here, so my house is gonna be profitable for you. And what's your business model? And so I agree with the business plan question. I also agree with, Mayor Moore with, I'm all about the educational piece, but I'm struggling to really see what the residential piece would look like.
Right.
As it seems like that would be the primary purpose of the facility, right? That's the primary thing. And some part of the day, you'll have students getting instruction and learning, and I'm looking at the picture and trying to figure out, okay, where's the educational piece and where's the apartment piece? And it sounds like a good idea, but a lot going on.
I
What's
see
the
what you're
focus?
saying, and so, just one quick question. Have you guys ever been to Menards?
Yeah,
Okay, so when you go pick up construction, they got the little booth in the back to let you in and out, so it's gonna be supervised, right? The thing is, so having the students, the school there, the pre-apprenticeship, like, for instance, it's already an existing building, the gymnasium. If it's storming out, if we got bad weather, we can build inside the gymnasium as a shop. Okay, so we don't want to be making too much noise in the neighborhood. The thing is, we need a facility in case we get a contract to build small houses. We're looking in every avenue for the education. So if we can build small houses and ship them right out from the school,
Right.
or the gymnasium, and have a contract to educate and build, we need to be self-sustainable, and that's where the apartments come in. That's where the idea of the apartments came in, to be self-sustainable. Let's say they take all these grants away. There is no funding coming in. Do we just shut down doors? We're trying to see how we can do without too many grants or private funds.
And if I could just second that, I think you stated the primary would be the residential, and it's the other way around. The primary cost for this building would be educational purposes. It'd be the skilled trades program itself to house 24/7, 7 days a week, that program for the 3-month course. The secondary part is the housing. That's where the sustainable piece come in, as he mentioned, for us to try to offset some of our own expenses to catch those traveling workforces, whether it's nurses, whether it's journeymen, whether it's your plumbers, your arborists, your linemen, those kind of networks that we're already heavily involved in. So we know, you see the trucks all the way from every major parking lot when you see these storms and stuff, right?
absolutely.
So they're paying from the company, not the individual.
Right.
So if we know off a radar, hey, we can expect X, Y, Z during this season, that's a sustainable part to where there's no need to have to look for funding when we know it's guaranteed, whether they spend 10 nights or one night, we know that money's already been paid.
Right, and I'm sorry, I should have qualified that statement. I'm meaning that in terms of generating revenue.
Yes,
For profit, the residential piece is
yes.
what's gonna generate, gonna be
Yes.
your moneymaker.
Yes, because we're giving majority of the students everything that they need.
And one last question, what age group again, you may have said it and I missed it, are we targeting? And where are we looking to pull the participants from?
So we're looking at ages 18 to 40. I mean, right now, working with the YMCA, they said they could make brochures for us, so it's everywhere, the entire city. We can't discriminate. We can't discriminate. If there's interest in education of the trades, I'd like to show them. I mean, yeah, because there's the lack of residential that we see in the neighborhood right now, it's going down. So if we can get people interested in rebuilding the city in housing, then that's what we gotta do.
Not just the community itself, but the individuals that make the community, right? One of the most employable parts right now in today's society is certifications, not degrees, right? So what we will be doing is empowering our residents, their children's, right? You're talking about kids coming out of school that know they don't want to go to college. We're having conversations and people contacting us, hey, we want to sign up Johnny for your program. Hey, Johnny don't want to go to college. He want to learn trades, right? You see what the township doing with the plumbing union, right? That trade's taken off and it's very productive, very responsible for some of the careers of a lot of people. That's what this program will do, however, it's just not plumbing. We're going to give them the pre-apprenticeship part to come in and, hey, see everything you want to think about doing? You could come get a crash course on that, and then we'll help tailor that for you for a career, right? Instead of you going to Delta College or somewhere for 2 years or 4 years and figure out, I don't like electric after all, Well, this pre-apprenticeship helps you navigate through that, and with our case managers and everything else, we got that navigation to help you succeed further than just a pre-apprenticeship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Clark.
Yes, thank you. I am a strong advocate of the trades, instruction, trades jobs, and the idea of pre-apprenticeship program really sounds good. And I also understand the difficulty you have us telling us right now what agreements you might be able to work up with businesses for purposes of arranging residential. I mean, I understand that. So my focus is more on what are your plans for who and how you will vet potential residents? Will you be doing that? Will the businesses be doing that? What will be, is there going to be, are they going to be investigated? There's all kinds of things that someone can do looking at potential residents and try and determine if they're a fit for your organization. So, and also how they are managed once they're in the facility as a resident. So those are what I'm more concerned about. Have you developed those plans yet, or is that something you're still working on?
Yes, they are being developed, extended as far. The property management will be taking care of all of the in-house pieces, but we then will work with background checks and everything else to secure who's coming in with those employers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good question.
Any other question, Commissioner?
So, I need to understand. No, I don't. Well, I do. I enjoy and I'm excited about the apprenticeship. I'm just not comfortable with the housing. So, this question is not for you guys, it's for my staff.
Finish with them
Okay.
and then
Don't
get back
do that,
into the regular
because-
order of business.
So, my thing is this. Can we start one thing and then grow and become friends with the neighbors and the community? Because I've heard you talk about the organization, and I think all that's great. However, the housing part is the part that's got me stuck. I don't know about anybody else up here, but that housing has got me stuck. And so if I had to vote, it would have to be no against the whole project, and I don't want to do that. And so I guess I'm asking the question, I'll ask y'all, can we start slow and you come back to see us? For the housing part, I'll ask that question. You could work with the neighbors, and y'all can try to design it together. You said you want to do partnership, let's do partnership.
Part of the beauty in this is building something, right? Us sitting with the school board, right? Our K through 8 people that we put our children in charge of, right? They've said they've had many ideas come across their table for these school buildings, 10 of them to be exact, sitting around Saginaw, vacant, obsolete, not being used, ran down. 4 of the 10 need to be demolished, that the city don't want to pay for and the school board don't want to pay for. Through our networks and through our dealings, we're able to try to get federal funds for that and have live demonstrations on what a demo actually looks like as part of a skilled trades program. So we're not trying to save one wall and tear down another, and yet it not cost the city a dime nor the school board a dime. Outside of education, it costs. Us having those houses, that little opportunity to recoup some of that just shows a sustainable piece to a program that's letting everybody get the education. I don't think we're opposed to have a building without the housing, but for our plan, it's the sustainable part with the employers that's wanting us to provide a workforce for their career-driven individuals to recoup some of that back while we're doing that favor up front. Add to that.
And then also, so with the curriculum that we wrote on this pre-apprenticeship, I've been requested from Grand Rapids to take this piece out there. I've been requested by Detroit to take this out there, but we want to start the pilot program in city of Saginaw where we live at. If it doesn't happen here, this program goes elsewhere. It doesn't stop. It's not going to stop if you guys reject the idea. What happened is I just got to take it elsewhere. But I live here, and the construction of residential has to be here. This is where I remodel houses. This is where the city of Saginaw calls me and says, hey, put a bid in on this job. And I give good quality work. I give good estimates. And if we don't teach this to the kids, how to be competitive, how to price these jobs out, you got companies coming from Flint, coming from out of state, coming to work here. We want to teach our own students here in the city of Saginaw. We got the capability to do this here. If we are shut down, this project goes elsewhere. We want it here.
Any commissioners have any other questions while we're out of order to the petitioners? I'd like to move on to some questions for staff.
Go back into order.
Move to go back into regular order.
Okay.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to return to our regular order. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so our current motion is to approve the petition. Now we're in discussion with ourselves and staff. I would like to ask a couple questions of staff at this point. The change in the zoning, it mentions here that R1 allows public educational facilities and the R3 low density allows the private educational facility. There is a distinction in the zoning between
It would
the two.
allow public as well, but it adds that private.
It adds private by
Yeah.
going to the R3.
Otherwise, you'd have to go through a special use permit.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, the zoning runs with the property. Were this to be approved, the property is now approved as an R3.
That is correct, and we're recommending that you approve the rezoning irregardless of this project, because of the fact that through the master planning process, we've identified all these underutilized properties throughout the city where there's been disinvestment and deterioration. And I would encourage that we rezone this to R3 anyway to encourage a developer to come in and try and put in some housing, well-needed housing for the city of Saginaw. We truly need housing in this city. And so I think this is a good opportunity to encourage this development here, as well as if this doesn't go through, we would still have a piece of property that a developer might be interested in developing this. In terms of traffic and congestion, Remington is a well-traveled street, as well as Sheridan, which runs along the east side of that property. The traffic and those are primary streets that can handle the traffic. As mentioned, they have plenty of parking. The parking's on the north side, so they would actually be coming in off of like Sheridan, for example, down Brown, and then entering the parking lot. So I don't see as much of an impact any more than when the school was in full operation there.
Just to be clear also, in terms of the housing aspect of it, our zoning does not contain a separate designation for workforce development housing. So it would just be an approval for a broad range of
Yes.
multi-unit housing.
And as Commissioner Orange pointed out, this could potentially be an Airbnb kind of a situation, which is, as you folks have recently approved, the R3 zone would permit that to happen there.
And also, it's not real clear because we're just looking at their plans for an existing building, but the property runs to that entire block.
Exactly,
That
yeah,
is one parcel.
exactly.
Okay.
yes.
Any other question for staff? Commissioner
Yes,
Clark?
Thank you. As I'm understanding it, whether or not this goes through, you would still be coming back with a recommendation for R3 for this zone, correct? As part of the master plan and whatever the goal is.
Yeah, I mean, we're still working through part of the zoning ordinance rewrite, but this will either become a mixed-use property or an R3 medium-density
The
property.
reason I ask is if it became either of those, someone could come in and build a multi-story, 100-unit place or something like that, couldn't they, given the size of the property and everything else?
Yeah, that's true.
So with 20-some, it's a lot better use, to me anyway.
I doubt that, because, I mean, but
Sure.
yeah, it's a possibility.
But obviously, if this one doesn't go through, we still want to see that building being used, or the property
Absolutely.
being used.
Absolutely.
So,
We have,
okay,
we have a substantial number of these properties throughout the city that we need to try and address somehow. 'Cause they were abandoned.
And I hadn't realized it had been the Boys and Girls Club, but that would have been a similar,
Yeah.
maybe even more intense use.
Also had been a Head Start building at one
Yeah.
time.
So I haven't heard, and I respect the residents, but I haven't heard anything saying those are problems. I mean, maybe they were, but
Just to confirm what you just said, you said that with the rezoning, this is going to go to multi-use and R3 already?
No, what I'm saying is that through the zoning ordinance rewrite process, it's likely that we would target this site as well as many of the other abandoned school properties for either a mixed-use type of a development, which would include the residential as well as maybe some retail, or the R3 medium-density residential.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Moore?
My question again is not with the education, not with that, it's with the housing and the community. So I understand, and so when did we put, I guess I shouldn't say that. I just got a problem with the housing part of it. And I mean, I'm all for the school. I truly am. I went through this with my neighborhood. I'm all for that. But then I also heard the young man say, it's either all or none. And so that creates a problem for me.
They're talking about sustainability.
But you
I
still
don't know,
not
I
guaranteed.
don't know what else you would do with this property. I mean, the only option is for it to become a school again, and you know, that's not gonna happen.
Or some kind of like assisted living medical facility is.
But why couldn't it be, you start off with one thing, and then you work in the neighborhood to develop? I'm asking y'all.
No, well, I think that you were given the answer. They're looking for the sustainability part. Somebody's gotta pay for the facility.
But it's not.
And the educational part of it doesn't sound like it pays for the taxes and the maintenance and things like that on a property that size. We're just trying to encourage development to happen in the city.
I'm not trying to disencourage, trust me. I'm truly not trying to disencourage, but I'm also trying to, I guess, be the middle person.
Yeah, I
to get some
understand, but
even
I mean,
ground.
realistically, what is gonna happen with that property in the future? And that's the question.
Okay.
Commissioner
So,
Orange?
I have a question. Once, you know, we yay or nay this thing, let's hypothetically say it is approved, then what is the next step?
Next step is it goes to the city council. It would go to the city council February 10th. You would make your recommendation. They would introduce the ordinance, and then it has to sit for 30 days. It comes back to the city council for final adoption, and then it has to wait 10 days after that.
Okay, and then, Mayor, Commissioner Moore, let's say they decided, okay, we're gonna take a look at another school, and this is hypothetical for you, and say, so we're gonna house the educational piece here and the residential piece there. Well, how would that that's really wouldn't make a difference, no, because it would still be just moving the.
You just, I mean, I'm, hear me well. I'm not against the education. I want to see something more fine-toothed with the housing portion of it. Because that is an area where there's a lot of elderly people. And most of the people over there have owned that property for some time. That'd be like you coming into my neighborhood and throwing all kinds of drug addicts and everything, and I got senior citizens, and I'm concerned about them. And so for me, I'm only one vote. For me, I'm into the education, and I'm into the housing. I just need to see something a little bit more solid. Then we're gonna have a security booth, we're gonna do this.
So Brenda, this isn't a site plan review. They would have to come back as well with a site plan. This is just for the rezoning. So they would be back again.
So
with
they
a
just
full
coming to me
site
for the
plan.
rezoning?
Not really.
Oh, I could deal with the
Oh,
rezoning.
no? Oh, okay.
If
If
you-
they're not making
Yeah,
exterior
if you're
changes.
not making exterior changes, it wouldn't have to come back before the planning commission.
Okay. Okay.
What'd you say, Bob? I'm sorry.
I'm saying it would not have to come back before the planning commission unless they were making site, changes.
Upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, parking
They're only
lot
changing
improvements and things like
interior.
that
Right.
are just administratively approved.
All right.
Are we allowed to make comments?
Well, we're in discussion.
Okay. So,
Yes, Rachel.
thank you. In light of the current federal funding climate, as evidenced by federal actions yesterday, I think if you want to have a civic-minded vocational training school run by a nonprofit, you're gonna need to have some kind of self-sustaining earned revenue program. And I think the proposal before us to have, professional housing for traveling professionals, like, it's possible that nurses and
Right.
doctors may be drug addicts, that's theoretically possible, but I'm less worried about that. And I hope that everyone who is addicted to drugs gets excellent support and treatment. But to me, this looks like a really well-packaged, well-thought-out, civic-minded business plan that builds the possibility for living wage jobs in Saginaw in a way that is as respectful as possible, a reuse of an existing abandoned infrastructure, and is thinking about professional apartments that are run by a property management company that hopefully would be accountable to the community.
Any other comments or questions from the commissioners for staff or between each other? We have a motion, and it's been seconded to approve the proposal to rezone this property at 1314 Brown Street from R1 to R3. All those in favor of the proposal?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Commissioner Bland,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Weininger,
Yes.
Commissioner Milne,
Yes.
Moore,
No.
Commissioner Nash,
No.
Commissioner Orange.
Yes.
The ayes have it.
The proposal has been approved. It will be passed on to the city council for final approval with our recommendation. The next item on the agenda, this is from a staff-initiated proposal for a rezoning of the North Michigan I-675 corridor from B1A and RMU-RC to B2. Being as it's staff-initiated, I would assume Mr. Golan is going to propose to us.
Yes, yep. So as we look at rezoning or the rewriting of the zoning ordinance, we looked at various areas throughout the city. This is one area that we felt probably doesn't meet the criteria for being a riverfront mixed use, since the riverfront mixed use zone for the most part is commercial buildings typically having consistent orientation towards primary streets and shallow front setbacks with parking at the rear and side of the building. And then they balance the pedestrian, bicycle, vehicular reliance with greater access to multimodal transportation systems. We didn't feel that this area meets that requirement. You've got the confluence of 675 entranceway, I-675 access routes in there. You've got Davenport and State, and then North Michigan. It's a very traffic-intense area, really not conducive to pedestrian traffic. You've got two buildings that are vacant currently, the Rite Aid building as well as the Walgreens. And most of the buildings within that area meet more of the suburban style development, where you have parking in the front of the building. And so we felt as though we should probably, in order to encourage more development, possibly redevelopment of those two properties that I mentioned, as well as there's a vacant property behind the Family Dollar. This would more or less help the developers look at potential franchise types of businesses that would typically locate in those high-traffic areas. So we are proposing that this area be rezoned to B2, general business.
All right, this is a public hearing. Is that the presentation? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this proposal? Please come forward.
Hi, my name is Helen. I own an apartment building on North Michigan, right where you're talking about, where I-675
Helen, what
corridor.
is your last name, please?
Atkinson.
And you live at what?
I live on Hermansaw Street, but I own a rental unit on Michigan,
Okay,
right where the I-675 corridor at Johnson Street comes off.
okay.
What I want to know is if you're zoning it from 1 to 2, are my taxes going to go up higher? And also, with that rental unit being a rental unit, can I have my renters move out and turn it into a storefront and still pay the same taxes as I'm paying now? And what do I have to do if you know, is it gonna be a problem?
These are public comments. This is not a question and answer, so
So
you have been heard.
what is, besides the fact that it's already all business, why are you changing it to a different business? Because it's all, it's all business from Union Street to Cronk Street right now on North Michigan. It's all business. There's only 2 houses on that whole street from Union to Cronk, 2 houses. And they're both rental units. So what's the reason for changing it? And Schaefer Street, that's all residential, so why are you changing it to business? You don't need to have business on that side to have more problems over there that are already occurring.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this proposal? Please come forward.
Hello, everyone. Dylan Hellis. Ooh, hot mic. Dylan Hellis, 124 Arducci in Saginaw, but here representing Covenant Healthcare. For those of you that don't know, Covenant Healthcare has begun undertaking a large neighborhood redevelopment project there in the Covenant neighborhood and Northwest neighborhood, sort of Court all the way out to State. And along Hill, where this area, it butts up to this area that you guys are looking at. Just wanted to share, Covenant is generally supportive of the change, and just would like to, make sure that, the connection sort of from the Covenant neighborhood side across the river into downtown, just that is sort of protected or maintained in a way that's, usable for residents. But otherwise, the changes from the riverfront zoning to B2 are amenable to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to comment at this hearing? Anyone else who wishes to comment? Thank you.
How you doing? My
Your
name is
name and
Terry.
address, please, sir?
1915 Schaefer Street. We are a small church there, and the zoning, we already in a resident, area, but what the effect is going to be on the church there, that new zoning.
Can you tell us what your name was again? I didn't
Pardon
catch
me?
it. Your name?
Terry Pearson,
Okay, thanks.
1915 Schaefer Street, that's where we at. So, right.
Mr. Golden?
Can I just explain something maybe that I didn't include in my presentation here is the area that we're talking about. So it would be the block from Schaefer to North Michigan and then east to the railroad track. Anything on the west side of Schaefer, all the way up to Davenport, on the east side would all be included in this. Anything on the west side of that, including 1915 and all those, we're not proposing to change that.
Okay.
And these would just be the properties, and then likewise, we would add the properties that abut North Michigan from Davenport up to Cronk on both sides of the street.
Thank you.
Now, should we pass around this map?
Is there anyone else who wishes to comment on this proposal? Please come forward.
Hello, my name is Mary Ellen Frere, and I'm representing my brother Gary Gerald Fauberry at 1815 Schaefer Street. And I do understand this gentleman said it's from the east side of Schaefer to the railroad, but I also read here that it's Union up to Davenport, the north side of Union up to Davenport. I didn't hear you say that, and that
Yes.
does involve Pastor's
Yes,
Church.
north side of Union, from Union Street north.
Yeah, I read
up to
that.
Davenport, between Schaefer and the railroad tracks on the east.
Yeah, I understand it. And then, but you didn't Pastor asked and you didn't include that. So I just want to make sure that you did understand that he's wondering what's happening to his
Yes, and I
property.
mentioned that his church would not be included in that.
Okay, and we do know that Covenant's buying up properties. My brother Gary's church, the lady just told him, yeah, Covenant just bought my house. They heard they bought Rite Aid and G&W Heating, which is fine. I'm not against businesses, nor my brother. But we have 4 generations in that house on Schaefer, and we just want to be included. My brother never received a notice, maybe because it didn't include his home, but it was, he heard
Within
through.
300 feet of,
Yeah, he heard from my brother, other brother who goes to pastor's church, that this meeting was going on today. So we're just here, we're concerned about how my brother's house stands there on Schaefer Street and what activity is going to be happening all around it. We've been there since 1960s. So beautiful home, 4 generations, and we want to be included in what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else who wishes to comment on this proposal? Anyone else to comment? Anyone else who wishes to speak? At this time, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing portion.
So move, Moore.
Support Nash.
It's been moved and supported to close the public hearing. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Sir, did you wish to speak?
Could I ask a question? I own the building that has C&T daycare between Davenport and State Street, right where 675 comes in and out. If they happen to move out of there, which I doubt they will, what do I do with that building? Is it gonna change? I mean, what businesses can I have or not have in there?
and that's something you can ask me.
Yeah,
Is
Mr.
there a
Golan
list
can
of
give you
things?
more detailed information on that.
Do you have a list of what I can do with
I
it?
do, yeah.
But it should run.
Thank you. I believe we did approve closing the public hearing, though. So,
Yeah, we did.
I would then entertain a motion to approve the zoning change from B1A and RMU-RC to B2.
I also move, I do have some questions.
Okay, Commissioner Clark has moved. Commissioner Heidlinger?
I thought we did all of that.
Weidling. Seconded. Discussion at this time. Questions for staff?
If I may.
Commissioner Clark.
Thank you. I think this will open up the ability to have even more business in that area, different types of businesses, correct?
More types of businesses, yeah, probably, yes.
Does it, my question is, if residential apartment buildings, potentially large ones, will want to go in this area, which I can see happening, this could actually affect the ability of those residents to get around in that area.
I guess I'm not following how you
Well,
come to that conclusion.
Well, I'm just, I mean, right now, it's not particularly accessible, I understand. Would this preclude a bike path or a bike or pedestrian path along the roads? I mean, somehow, if you have increased apartment residential, it seems to me you want to be able to have walkability in this area, in that area as well, whenever there's apartments, and buy buildings or buy businesses. So how would that be accommodated if we continue to encourage the buildings being set back as opposed to having a walkable sidewalk or something of that nature? How do we encourage that walkability?
Well, I'm not sure that that's, the way it is right now encourages walkability, and
I agree.
And it would take many, many years and total redevelopment of the area even to get to that point where you are building bike paths through there. We are looking at non-motorized vehicle transportation throughout the city and are looking for opportunities for where we can put those in there. I'm not sure that this particular area would necessarily be conducive to that kind of.
Well, I agree, I mean, not now, I just don't want to see it precluded as a possibility,
Yeah.
is where I'm coming
I
from.
mean, this is more to encourage business development and not necessarily for residential development in this particular block area, period. Surrounding it, absolutely, but not here.
I'm a believer in walkability in any downtown area, and that's.
Yeah, but that's not what this is. That's the problem, is that this doesn't really meet the criteria for being a riverfront mixed-use area, like we want in the downtown area and in Old Town.
Commissioner?
I'm wondering why now for this proposal? If it's something that could be handled in the zoning ordinance rewrite potentially, or why it's pulled out separately?
No, that's a fair question. There is a developer who's interested in one of the properties, and this would move that project along faster. But yeah, that's a good question.
Can you say more about that?
Not right now, no.
Okay. Thanks for confirming.
Well, you already, well, one of them's already here, kinda, because, I mean, West Covenant brought up almost everything around the whole hospital.
Any other commissioners with comments or questions? So we have a motion on the floor to approve the proposed zoning change, correct? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The proposal is approved. Next item, 2025-26 Capital Improvement Plan.
Hello, Commissioners.
Presenting.
It's me over here. My name is Jonathan Baker. I'm with the Office of Management and Budget. I'm a budget analyst too. Every year, due to the Planning and Enabling Act, we present to you all of the public-facing capital projects that have been proposed through the city. This year, instead of the Excel that I sent prior years, I have converted it to a PDF to try and make it a little bit more accessible to you. We also updated our pages for the projects to make them a little more accessible to read, get the details to you. I'll give you a little run through of the PowerPoint here, or not PowerPoint, the PDF here. All of these over here, fire apparatus, Oakwood Cemetery, these are all clickable links that take you right to the project at hand. It's kind of difficult to see up on the TV, I'm sorry.
They have this. I printed it all out for them,
Did you print the whole thing?
the whole thing.
Okay. That works too. So you can see that we made them all one-page documents for each project that show where the source of the funding is coming from, how much, what year, and a little description of the project. This PDF allows you to drop down with your scoring for each project. And the scoring is the same as last year. Imperative is must do, essential is should do, important is could do, and desirable is want to do.
If I may, where is that list of, is that in this document? So we have it right with it.
It's a drop
List
down.
of,
It's the,
It's a drop down in the document.
See right here?
The PDF that you received.
yeah, it's all a drop down.
I'm looking at mine, I don't have that.
Well,
Your
no,
P-
because this is the interactive one that I sent you, that you've got.
Go on your computer.
When we access it, you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So if you look at that front page, it'll
get
look
you.
like this, select a score. That is a drop-down menu where you then select your
And you
score.
want it all scored to the first page?
Yep,
Okay, not on the.
nope, all on the front page.
What Jonathan's tried to do is provide you with the details, each one, each category, each one in the list, you
No,
have
I-
an associated page.
I get that, I'm just trying to make sure I understand the process, because last year,
Yeah.
we had real difficulty.
Yeah.
I ended up having the paperwork, and it was
Trying to
real-
make it easier.
Well, which I'm
Hopefully.
glad of.
Yep,
As long as I can actively go on and enter my store here, I'm happy.
yep, and it should be much more accessible this year. Last year, it was a spreadsheet, that was all sorts of problems. So this should be much more accessible to everybody.
Thank you.
And if you have any problems, feel free to reach out to Bob or myself, and I will,
Why don't you give me your number, if I may? And I've got it right here.
it is 989
Yes,
859 1519.
thank you.
That's right.
759.
759. Good call. Good call. See how often I call my own office?
989
Wait, this-
759
759.
1519.
Yep.
You don't call yourself very often, do you?
I don't call myself very often, no. The other option is my email, if you would like that. Would you like my
Yeah, well-
email?
Yeah, why not?
It's jbaker, JBAKER, at saginaw-mi.com. I figured you guys got that part.
Got that part too.
I got that.
You know that part too.
So yeah, these are just all of your public-facing projects over $20,000 that have a public impact. We would like this back Friday, February 28th. That is the due date that we have decided this year. That gives you about a month.
Is this up now?
You should have it in your email.
Yeah, we got it.
It's in
got
our
one,
email.
but I couldn't go on it, wasn't able to fool with it.
I
That's
sent
why I
it
was-
separately.
Okay,
Ah.
but I knew, okay.
And
good.
a tip, if I may, you have to download the PDF, and then it'll allow you to do the drop-down menu voting thing. I messed that up earlier. No problem.
I can't download nothing else.
Yes.
I have a question. Are there any projects listed in here that actually are already approved and funded? I see one for Adams and Cass Street reconstruction. I thought that was a done deal.
No, some of these, the answer to that is yes and no, which I understand is confusing. Some of these have been approved for the engineering to have taken place, but the construction's still ongoing.
Ah, okay.
You have to remember, like, there's street projects, it happens over a 2-year period of time. So the first year is about the design.
Okay.
And the second year is about the construction.
Yeah, that one I just happened to notice because I could have sworn.
We've been
but-
talking about that.
Well,
Adams
it's
and Cass
also,
for a very long
it's
time,
had
so.
some brownfield impact. Originally, it
Yes.
was going to be part of a brownfield project for some of the work.
Yep.
Right, and that brownfield got abolished, so
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're bringing this back for you because they got the money to take care of it now.
So it's a work in progress.
And a lot of these are things that get approved every year, like the water main, sewer main, lead line replacement.
Right, yeah.
Those are continual projects, but we just have to bring them back every year because they are substantial amounts of money.
That water line projects normally will last about 25 years.
You know,
So for 24 years, you're gonna keep bringing
Yes.
it up?
you know,
I'm sorry. I just had to get that one in.
so till I retire, I'll be here talking about water lines, sewer lines, and it'll probably repeat after that 24 years because we'll have to replace the first ones I came here
I'm
for.
trying to, thank you so much.
I can't wait to see the 2026 improvements on this document. I'm sure it will be amazing.
Thank you. I put a lot of time into that
Yes,
this
he
year.
has.
Because we took all of the projects in the old form, and Tom Raines, the deputy of OMB, and myself converted it all into these one-pagers that we're moving forward for all the departments, for ease of use, for everybody's sake.
It's better for us.
You know, if there's any other questions?
Well, yes, there is.
Okay.
Some of these, does the scoring sheet have a breakdown for different projects under one, where you've got several different items listed?
I guess I would need a example.
Well, here, the public services, biennial local street reconstruction, there's the it's different sources, so the sources don't need to be approved, usually the whole project approved.
Correct.
All right, okay.
Correct. The sources are just where the city's finding the money to do the project. That's determined by the departments.
All right, good, thank you.
Sorry for the newbie question. After we vote, what's the process from there?
From there, we take it to the city manager, who then gets to put his ratings on every project. And then the projects that do end up getting approved and we can afford go into the budget, which gets approved by council.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, Commissioner Nash.
Before, with a different city manager, we never saw this. So this is the way it should be done.
Do we return it to you by your email, or is it on the site that you sent it, and we just?
Just put send.
You can send it back to me if you want.
Okay.
That's probably the best bet, and then Bob will forward it to me.
So when we get done, we gotta type in, it's going back to you, Bob. It's not a thing that says when you complete those things, push send.
No, it's not that kind of a document.
I thought we got an update on the
That's next year.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Man, I remember.
That's above my pay grade. I don't know how to do that.
That's a survey.
Yeah.
That's a survey.
That would be something that I would have to get with IT on.
That's what I'm talking about. I thought we, okay, I'm
That's why I
sorry.
had to ask the question. How do we get it
No,
back?
this one is a PDF. You will download it from the email that I assume Bob sent you already.
Put it someplace in your computer.
Yep, put it on your computer or your iPad. It's doable on your iPad. And then you send the downloaded one, save it with your name,
I can tell you.
Mayor Moore, and then send it back to Bob so that I can have it all downloaded and I have everybody's scoring.
All right, well, I'm gonna do that.
Don't be surprised if you get a paper copy from me.
Just write the numbers next to it. That'll work too.
That might work better.
And you know what, I think that's what me and Floyd was down here trying to get to a lose. Can we just put the scores on
This
here?
will be easy. This will work out. We'll make it work.
Is there anything else?
Thank you very much for your presentation.
No problem.
John.
Thank you all.
Thank you, John.
I can tell we're all looking forward to this.
Yeah.
All
Me
right.
too, every year.
Be gone most of that.
We have one more item in new business, our 2024 Planning Commission Annual Report.
That's just really more for your information of the activities that we did last year, just to outline everything that we were involved in. And then, just some statistical information at the end. It also includes the Board of Appeals on zonings, so they'll get a copy of this as well.
So D&E,
Commissioner
we
Moore.
don't have to vote on.
Correct.
No.
It's just information
You
on.
can vote to accept, I guess.
I'll move or receive
That's
it
what I
to
thought.
Support.
Okay, to receive and file items D and E under new business.
Right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There. That's official.
Thank you.
Now, we are at number 6 on our agenda, public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to address the commission on any issue they have on their mind? No public comment today. Old business. Anything from the staff?
No, but I did give you this list of new dates that have the special meetings for the zoning rewrite
Should we
review.
move that and second that?
No, you don't necessarily
Okay.
need to do that. I'm just, it's for your information, and then I'm providing you with a flyer that's actually gonna go to the city council, the Board of Appeals on zoning, and various other groups, neighborhood groups and whatnot, inviting them to attend the meeting. We'll have a presentation by Giffords Webster on Articles 4 and 5, and go through that language, just like we did in December. And then, we'll have a public comment period if someone in the crowd wants to, voice some concerns about various things. And if there's not much language change, then, that will be incorporated in it, and then we will finalize on March 3rd the remaining amount of articles that we have to go through.
I would like to mention to everyone, I'm sure you all received your emailed invitation to the strategic planning meeting for the council. That is
Friday.
Friday, 8:30
8:30.
At the museum.
at the museum.
And I think you have to RSVP.
I guess I didn't notice that. No, it's a regular council meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can-
Open to the public.
What you can do, if you wish to speak at it, though, is hit the city clerk's office and sign up to speak. We don't automatically get speaking privileges.
I have to let Bob know, I will probably not make either the city council strategic planning, as I'm leaving out of town that day. And on the 18th, March 3rd, I probably will not be back that day.
No, and I recognized that you were the only one who was not able to make that. I had to, I'm
That's
sorry, I had to
okay.
make a
just
decision.
want- You need to know and,
Yeah.
you know,
What continent are you going to?
well, that's two
Let's see
separate
the
trips. Two separate, right at the beginning, one at the end, and there's just time that way.
And I have one question about the zoning ordinance rewrite process. Are we voting on it on March 3rd, or what's the process after March 3rd?
You're not voting on it, but any of your comments will be incorporated within that, the rewrite language. And all of that, once we finish the March 3rd, then we're still working through the idea of having an open house or something to that effect where everybody can see the document. It will definitely be on the website for everybody to review, but then we have to have a public hearing on it at one of the planning commission meetings, which I believe we're looking at
Hopefully we can do March, but it kind of depends how much, how many changes have to be added in. Yeah, if not
Right.
March, then we'll do April.
yeah, and then it'll go to the
Right.
city council for adoption after that.
But I'm going to Washington a lot.
All right.
I'm in
All right, so
Washington a
don't
lot.
make any changes.
Anything else under old business?
If you guys, sorry, on the website where this QR code goes, that's where all the updates are going with important dates, and we're posting the full articles on there after you guys have reviewed them. So,
Oh, you're talking on this announcement?
yep.
Yep, that QR code there.
Okay.
That's another technology thing.
Use your camera on your phone.
I always just thought that was a maze you're supposed to.
It is, it's just amazing. It's very amazing and very incomprehensible.
All right, we're at everyone's favorite part. Article
to
8,
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Support.
Multiple supports, and let us vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?